Okay, well, we got all the red on, and so if you just want the chair to be red, right now you skip all this black stage stuff and just jump to rubbing it down. But I'm going to put a wash coat of black on it. You can do a bunch of different colors. I've done black over green. It looks neat. It's got kind of a metallic color to it. Lexington green's the green I use for that. I've done a black over mustard, which looks good, and a few other ones. Black over red still my favorite. And then you can do other color wash coats on top of colors. I mean, you can experiment with all kinds of stuff, and I don't have a lot of experience with that. I've done a little bit of it. So to mix up the wash coat of black, it's very similar to the way that I mix the red. I mix it 1-to-1, water to milk. It's milk paint. Water to milk paint, right. And then I beat it real good. Then I put 1.5 more waters to it. So I end up with a 2.5 water to 1 paint. So a little bit thin. Now I might have to adjust that as I watch it go on. It could be a little bit thick with me, and I'll put a little bit more water in with it. Now one thing that I do when I strain the red paint through cheesecloth. With the black, I strain it to the cheesecloth. I dip off the foam like I did with the red after it sits for a little while, and then I strain it one more time. I strain it through an automobile paint strainer. The reason I do that is because there seems to have been in the past a kind of a gray ghosting that comes through on the black sometimes, and the milk paint people told me that was some clay that wasn't ground quite as fine, and so I thought maybe that filter could take that clay out. I guess it's doing its job, because since I started doing that, I don't get that gray ghosting anymore. So now I got the paint ready to go, and as I start putting it on, I'll see how thick it's going on, and then I'll adjust the black to that. Now I paint the black on top of this red really fast. Got a little dust on the chair. I paint it on really fast. What I've seen, and I've never gone back to the old-fashioned milk paint company and asked them about this, but what I've seen is that if I let that black sit on there for just a short period of time, then I get kind of a black-red muddy mix there, like it's melting the red, even though the red sat around for a day or two and obviously dried. So I go as fast as I can. So anyway, let me get the brush loaded here first, and then I can start in. It looks like it's about the right thickness for me, but I won't know till I start putting it on. And I got a little bit too much paint on the brush, so I'm going to try to get rid of it. Spread it out. There we go. So I'll try to get around to the opposite side quick. Well, it's dust on that. So it looks like it's not too thin. Question is now, is it too thick? I don't think so. So you see, I don't want a lot of paint over here, because because I don't have any place to put it. If you get too much, oh, there goes my timer there for my steam box. I'm steaming a little wood out there to bend, but it'll wait. And the other reason for not getting too much paint on the brush is the way I paint it right like this, I'd be throwing paint all over the place. Yeah, I like how much is going on. I like how much red I'm seeing coming through right now. So I think this is a pretty good mix. Alright, so got the legs, and you know, I don't try to get 1000% of the chair with this wash coat. Sometimes I'll miss things on the bottom of those bird's beaks. I may go back and hit it, I may not. So now I'm going to hit the bottom of the seat, bottom of the arm rail, and the bottom of the cone down there. So I want to pull out the paint, but like I said, I don't want it to sit there very long and then start pulling it out, because it seems like to me I start seeing a little bit of red starting to get melted. Those brace spindles make it pretty tight in there. You see, I'm trying to go with the long wood fibers in there instead of going right like that. I use the term long wood fibers a lot, and some of y'all would probably use the term grain, and I kind of avoid the term grain unless I'm talking about it in aesthetic terms, like the grain of that wood is very pretty. And the reason I avoid it is because the term grain is used to describe so many different qualities that have to do with wood, and so I try to eliminate some of that confusion. You hear the jackhammer in the background. That's my town working on our sewer system. So that's going to be going on for about the next year, I think. So trying to get between these spindles and do it fast enough. Do it without raking it, and raking off some paint on the other side. Do it without melting the red back. It's kind of tricky, and keeping those lines on this black wash coat. It's real important that your strokes are not choppy, or when you rub the paint down, it will look like there were choppy brush strokes, which then there actually are. But so you're trying to pull that out into long strokes. Of course, the trick here is to get the paint on it, but don't scrape off any that's going to be on the other side there. So one of the keys to not doing that is not loading the brush up with too much paint. I'm going to go ahead and get the back of the comb while I'm right here. Easy to get to since it's kind of tilting down towards me. So pull it out, watch out, make sure you don't get anything right there. So you see I'm trying to get those strokes as long and continuous as I possibly can. And then I rake those spindles just a little bit, so I'll straighten that out. Well, we're to the seat now, and you might be able to see I've splattered the seat some. And you don't want to try to, like if you splatter that seat, you don't want to say, oh no, I got a little dot on the seat, and wipe it off, because you can create a mess by wiping off some of the red underneath it. So I just let the splatters just go ahead and go on there. I'm going to start on this edge, and I'm going to try to go as fast and as uniform as possible, because you don't want these choppy streaks, because like I said, it ends up looking like you've got choppy streaks in it when you rub it down. So you want them as long and straight as possible, but you've got to move fast. So here I go. So I didn't quite get enough paint on my brush right there. That's a little better right there. So I'm having to do a little choppy to get that in there, and then I'm going to pull it all the way from front to back. Now, once again, all the way from front to back. My brush hit right there at the bottom of that arm support, so I'll have to go in there and get that. There we go. So it would have been a little glob there. So that's it. I don't touch it now. So I'll set it down, finish painting the comb, and then there'll be one last coat, and that is where I take this watered down black and I paint about, I don't know, anywhere between 60 and 70% of the chair, and so I'll show you how to do that next. Alright, well, I let it dry for 4 or 5 hours, something like that, and so now I'm going to put the second coat of black on, but it's not like a coat. It's not. I don't paint the whole chair. I just paint like most of the chair, and I kind of just throw it on, slop it on here, which you'll see. When you're painting, as I said when I was painting the red, the kind of sludge keeps going down the bottom. You keep it stirred up, keep it stirred up. So the more paint you use, thicker the paint gets. So I'm going to go ahead and thin this black a little. I don't know how much, but about half a tablespoon. Let's just say half a tablespoon. And stir it up there. Okay. So now I'll, this goes on real fast. Like that. You can see I'm not covering the whole thing. And I don't have a lot of paint on the brush at all, because I certainly couldn't spread it out and get rid of it if I did. And if you want to see some good detailed shots of what this looks like, close-ups, there's some on my website. Paint there. So with this kind of streaking coat, I guess I'll call it for lack of a better term, I still try to get these long brush strokes. It's not quite as easy as getting them when you're covering everything, but so on the spindles, just gonna hit about, I don't know, 75% of the spindle, something like that. Try to stay off the seat if I can. Okay. Tops of those ears so I don't forget them and forget some spot you'll have too much red showing through. So I mean, the whole idea behind this is to kind of give the paint some depth, so you'll get it'll sort of go from being black to black with a little bit of red showing through to black with a lot of red showing through to some places where it's red, and sort of makes the paint quite interesting. And then the milk paint is so thin that you also get a lot of the wood grain telegraphed through. So like the difference in the growth rings in the pine will show through on the seat, and the oak will show through also. And you couple that with this black over red finish, and it adds a whole lot of visual effect to it. So in here, it is about the trickiest place to do this final coat, because I'm trying to get a little paint in there, not too much, and trying to pull it all out at the same time and not rake it off on the other side of those spindles. Even as messy as it looks, it ends up looking okay usually. So before I paint the seat, I'm going to paint the gutter, because I'll let my little brush get a little bit stiff. Makes it easier to get in the groove, I guess. So I paint the gutter because I rest my arm on the seat. I couldn't do that if I painted it first. Now, try to get some nice long strokes here. Not too much paint on the brush, but just enough. Okay, when you finish with it, it's going to look god-awful, but if you do it right and pull out those long streaks, then when you rub it down and then put oil on it, it looks sweet. So the only thing I like is top of that comb, and a little bit too much red maybe showing through right there. So I'll set it down and paint that, and I'll be finished with it. Okay, so I believe we are finished with the milk paint. I'll let this dry till tomorrow, and I'll rub it down.